The movement involved some great and courageous people. Aaron Henry, Fannie Lou Hamer, so many people who every day took their lives in their hands to make Mississippi a better place. But they had to have lawyers likewise.
The changing of a society is a process that's glacial. Whether we like it or not, changing people's minds is an enormous undertaking.
Mississippi. It was the worst of the closed society.
There were so many things going on in Mississippi that were bad. If you could have seen the way black people were treated, it was just horrendous.
Our society is one based on the rule of law. That's how it's done in America. Lawyers were a helping role and a necessary role.
The primary responsibility of the national government was to protect fundamental rights, the rights of freedom and equality for the black people. And the national government wasn't moving.
Lawyers put real lives on the line.
I remember he was handling one case. He had received a telephone call saying, if you show up for court, we will kill you.
We must come to grips with the fact that while we are engaged in a battle to get an ultimate goal, it will take generations to do it.
Visionaires. Yeah, we on a visionary vibe, cultivating purpose, solutions, and unity while advancing and increasing your personal growth, development, energy, frequency. Yeah, it's a visionary vibe. You ever considered rites of passage, separation, transition, elevation, and purpose? Do you have a code of ethics, protocol, truth, love, respect? I salute you. Pull up at the house and get what you need. Open house vision. Are you a visionary? Pull up at the house. You're tapped and tuned into the Visionaire Show. Today's show is sponsored by EarthlandCoffee.global. You can use the link in the description box to place your order right now. You're tapped and tuned into the Visionaire Show. Yours truly, Bennie Hitmaker Foster. I have none other than one of my highly esteemed mentors in the podcast today. He is awesome. You're going to hear from him. His name is Dr. Eldrige Henderson. He's here with me right on my right hand like a right-hand man. He's rising and flying with me today. You know, they say ride and die. Dr. Eldrige Henderson, I say rise and fly.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Most certainly.
We also have Mike Lee, who will be joining us via phone call today. He tapped and tuned in last week, and we were talking about resources for the community. So wherever you are right now, you're watching this show, I would love for you right now to share this show with your family, with your friends, Facebook. You know, we share all the negative viral things and people beating up people and people acting crazy on social media. How about you share some information that will literally change your life? Dr. Henderson, about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, you and I were able to meet right here on this set with the Straight Talk Show with Tanya G. And I was so impressed with who you are and what you represent. I had to tell you right then and there that I wanted you to consider being my mentor. We literally caused something to happen to where a gentleman was listening who was incarcerated at the time, and he gave us a call, and he said that I want you to be my mentor, just like you said you want him to be your mentor. How powerful is mentorship to you?
Well, I think mentorship is one of the most important things you can have. There is no one anywhere that did not have a mentor in some time in his or her space, usually starting at an early age.
Wow.
And many times they didn't even know they had a mentor because they were working on their own, observing the person, trying to do like they were doing because they were not satisfied with their present condition. And that's why it's important to always have a mentor that's going to lead you in the right direction if you want to go in the right direction.
And you're always going to have that unlearned behavior. You're always going to have things that you're soaking in as an individual, because even from a child, we watch our parents, we watch our grandparents, we watch our caregivers, and kids grow up and be like, where did they get that from? It was inputted into them, even with indirect mentorship. You can actually, we have this thing called the 3 E's, Dr. Henderson. I would love to hear your standpoint on it. We call it the 3 E's: environment, experience, and exposure. If you change those 3 E's, you will change a person's life. What is your take on that?
Well, I agree with that. Matter of fact, you can change one's life in 30, 60, or 90 days.
Correct.
If you do that.
Correct.
Now, that environment, sir, is the most important thing in one's life.
Yes.
You can have the making of a king, but if you're in a negative environment where there's a lot of dysfunction, you will find that person will be negative most of the time, and they are not going to elevate themselves to the point where they're going to have any productivity. Very little will come from a person like that. That environment is one of the most important things they need to change if they want to be able to be aggressive, promotive, and economically secure.
So when we look at now how this society, let's look at Jackson, Mississippi. When you see dilapidated buildings, when you see streets that have not been paved. Now, I'm currently coming back to Jackson, Mississippi after 25 years. I've been in Atlanta, Metro Atlanta. I've traveled around the world. I'm coming via Miami for the last 2 years, living on the beach, enjoying myself, having a great time. And God tapped me on the shoulder and said, what about Jackson, Mississippi? And so the hometown favorite, hometown hero has come back to Jackson, Mississippi, and I'm bringing a radical type of change through Open House Vision. Now, when you say that 30, 60, 90 days, within 60 days, we've had land donated, facilities donated. We've had people that are literally galvanized and organized and come together believing that we can literally change the mindset of our young people, our young adults, and the families in the city of Jackson. But why has not those dilapidated buildings changed? Why have not those streets changed when we have political offices that are actually assigned those particular tasks to make Jackson a better city? What do you feel like the disconnect is in the mindset of our political leaders? Because Open House Vision is being received by the community. Open House Vision is being received by men and women all over Jackson, Mississippi. Open House Vision is being received by young people, but I've yet to talk to a politician, or I've yet to talk to a political leader or someone in legislature that has received and sat down and talked with Open House Vision. Why do you think that's so?
Well, there's one specific reason, and that is these politicians, elected and appointed, do not fear the citizens. They don't even worry about the vote because they know they're going to get about 15 to 30% of the vote. They know 70% not going to vote for them. All they're going to do is criticize them, and they are familiar with criticism, and they know they don't have to do anything other than show up if they choose to do so and get paid.
So why do you think the citizens, though, haven't realized that we have the power to change this?
Well, they don't believe that. You have to teach it to them. See, citizens think these preachers and elected and appointed officials or specialists knowledgeable in what they're supposed to do, and some of them have not even seen their job description. They don't know what they're supposed to do because they were appointed by their friends or some of their peers or by their sorority or fraternity brother or by their church leader to positions of responsibility, and that is a bad route to take.
That's why I love having courageous conversations with you like this, because every time you speak, you give me a little something else to go now, not to a different a direction, but just to add on to this conversation, because any conversation runs the nation. Conversation rules the nation.
Every
There are
time.
conversations being had right now that people have our livelihood in their hands, and they're not including us in the conversation. When you said that these citizens now don't understand the politician's job description, we now need to think about a business concept, right?
Exactly.
In business, so many people start a business and they hire their family, or they hire their frat brother or their sorority sister, and they might not have the intestinal fortitude to handle that job. And because you do it out of friendship and you think you can just tell them, well, this is what I'm going to do, 2 turkeys in a pot if you vote for me. Now we give them our authority by giving them our vote. And they're not doing anything according to what will handle the business of Jackson, Mississippi. When will the citizens look at Jackson, Mississippi as a business and not just a place where they live? When you live in your home, you got to pay bills. When you live in your home, you got to clean up. When you live in your home, you got to feed your children. When you live in your home, you have to maintain that home. Why have not the citizens of Jackson, Mississippi understood that they got to look at Jackson, Mississippi being ran by business-minded people that can handle the business of Jackson, Mississippi?
Well, it's very clear. Most voters and non-voters don't even know who their leaders are, nor do they know what they're supposed to do. Every citizen in the Jackson area has at least 13 different appointed or elected officials that he is responsible for, or that's responsible for them in their district. You know, they have mayors, council people, supervisors, judges, constables. On down the line, they don't know who those people are. They don't even know the one that's in their district. They don't know what they're supposed to do. And if they have someone they know that is elected, they will call him or her for all the problems they have, overwork them, and many times the person they call does not have good rapport with the other politicians in his line of work. They don't even talk to each other. So if you don't organize where you are with what you have, and generate and create your own leaders, things going to get worse. And I guarantee you, in the next 9 years, if we don't start doing any better in certain areas of activity, we are going to be worse off today than we were 30 years ago.
Now,
and we were in bad shape 30 years ago.
Now, I'm a proponent of what you said the first time I was in here with the Straight Talk Show. Straight out, shout out to Tanya G and Brenda Scott, who run that show prophetically and profoundly. I love the way they set that up for you and I to meet. But you said something very profound and prophetic. You said in 30 to 60, 90 days, 30 to 60 or 90 days, that a person can change their life. Do you believe that we can change a city in 30 to 60,
if you do the
90 days?
In order to change anything, Mr. Foster, you need something called a prioritized corrective action plan with 5 different components. One is specific goals. You're going to need an agenda. You're going to need a timeline, and your timeline is always 30, 60, or 90 days. You will need a project manager, and you will need an evaluation team. And everyone's supposed to be working together. And when you look at your progress in 30 days, your project manager then is supposed to share that information with the evaluation team. They look at it and look at the goals and objectives. They look at the guidelines. 30 days, if they don't have it 90%, that means they have to correct that 10%. 60 days, the same. And in 90 days, you should have all of your components together, and you should have reached your goal if you have it set in what I call increments.
Yes.
You're going to have 3, 5, or 7 things to work on at any given time.
Yes.
And you have to specify economics, leadership, religion. You're going to have to look at politics. All of these things go together because there are 5 different activities that black folks are going to have to control, starting on a local level with their own leaders, in order for them to be saved from what I call the special interest groups that are set to destroy them and demote them further in their life structure.
Yes.
The life structure of the black man is falling to the point where we are not even significant anymore as an entity of the human race, as far as most of the politicians, elected and appointed, and the preachers are concerned. We are an outcast. We are what we call a permanent underclass in America.
Yes.
Politically, economically. No one respects a black man in Mississippi, in the South, in the nation, nor in the world. Because they know we are not organized. All we do is criticize our human enemies of mankind and won't even use focused strategies to do what we need to do for self in those 5 areas of activity.
Let me jump in right quick.
Yes, sir.
So we have a school system, and I have a master's in education, okay? And I have profoundly been put in a position to always catch the kids on the other side. Intervention, prevention, and prevention, and then recidivism and reentry programs. That's my forte. I can do that with my eyes closed, correct? And what I learned is that you have to deprogram individuals, right, in order to reprogram them. You have to take something out in order to put something in. And so when we have a young person, let's just say a young man or a young woman, right, and they both wired differently, and they're in that school system, and there's that cookie cutter approach in that school system to where they are pushing this agenda of the ITBS test or the Iowa Test of Basic Skills or whatever testing, standardized test system. That is the main focus, right? And they're looking at whether a child is number 59, number 24, number 84 on a certain percentile below or above average. And when those scores come back, a child is feeling like that maybe they're inadequate or maybe they're insignificant and maybe that they're not going to be able to make it in what we call life. But you and I both know, and our listeners know that are out there watching, that none of these scores matter. None of the ITBS substance matter. None of the standardized test information matters in real life. If I was to ask anyone watching on Facebook Live right now, do you remember any question or any answer off of the standardized test that you took in school? Neither of us, none of us can determine how we could apply that particular standardized test to everyday life. And so that kid now is broken. That kid now feels inadequate. That kid now feels like they're misled, they're out of place. And now we have to now find that broken child. We have to heal that broken child. And then we have to now pour this information that you and I are sharing into that broken child. And I believe that those are the future leaders today. Our leaders today will be our leaders tomorrow, pertaining to what we
vegetable and cattle farm located in Jackson, Mississippi, and is Mississippi's largest urban farm. The mission of Footprint Farms is to provide the community access to healthy food choices, introduce our youth to agriculture, and provide training and technical assistance to small farmers and ranchers. The farm is open to the public every Friday from 2:30 to 5:30 p.m. to purchase fresh produce or visit us at the Mississippi Farmers Market located near the fairgrounds in February. We accept all forms of payment, including EBT and SNAP benefits. Looking for a beautiful venue for your next wedding, family reunion, or dinner? Footprint Farms offers a 3,000 square foot facility on 5 beautiful acres, perfect for your next event. For more information, visit our website at footprintfarms.com, Facebook and Instagram at Footprint Farms, or call us at 601-910-5534. Footprint Farms, farm fresh, city sweet.
Advertise on WeBelieve.global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
This some Campbell Soup good conversation right here. Man, listen, we missed the break. I missed the prompter for coming to the break. But I hope you guys understand that these conversations are the conversation that we need to have, not just in our living room, not just at our kitchen table, not just on this podcast, but we need to have these conversations while we at work, while we at church, and while we at play. This conversation needs to be on the front of our mind. Speaking of courageous conversations, we have none other than my little brother Mike Lee out of Washington, D.C. He's on the phone line. He's getting ready to get in where he fit in with Dr. Eldrige, Henderson, and myself, yours truly, Bennie Hitmaker Foster. You're tapped and tuned in to the Visionaires show, where we cultivate unity, vision, and purpose. Mike Lee.
Yes, sir.
Salute. How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed, man. Just, it's a pleasure to be in the midst of you and Dr. Henderson, man. It's just fun listening to two great inspirational brothers just chop it up. So I just want to tap in and add value wherever I can.
Tap in, man. Tap in. So what do you think about the conversation thus far that we were having concerning the school system, man? I mean, and I love, first of all, I think there's some great teachers.
Excellent teachers.
There's some excellent teachers. I think they're underpaid.
Well, I
there's
know
some
they are
great
underpaid.
administrators.
Right.
But I think that they sometimes don't have the tools and the resources. There's some excellent principals, but I think that they're broken. They're working with a broken structure. And so I want to salute them. And so, Brother Mike, go ahead and weigh in on what we've been discussing thus far.
Yeah, man. I mean, you guys are hitting it right on the head. This is an ongoing problem across the country, and it's systemic. It's not on accident. This is something that has been happening and that has continued to happen year after year. However, when you bring leaders like yourselves together, I'm in the Washington, D.C. area, when we're all running in the same direction, that's all fine and dandy. The problem is we haven't met each other yet. Right? As people, we go to networking events all the time, but we don't necessarily have a networking lifestyle. And it's going to be that networking lifestyle that's going to get us over these humps, because I would walk right past Dr. Henderson on the streets until I know who he is. Right? So I think these conversations are absolutely imperative. The change, no matter what city you're in, this is absolutely imperative. One of the things that Dr. Henderson said is mentorship is happening anyway. Like, that is so powerful. I don't want that to go over you guys' head. It's happening anyway. And a lot of the times we gravitate to the people that give us the attention, not the love, but the attention that we seek. As people, we're, especially in this digital age where it's immediate gratification, as soon as you touch your phone, we seek attention more than we do knowledge. So I'm just grateful to be in the midst of you guys. I think those steps that you mentioned, I've been taking notes like crazy. And those 5 steps that you mentioned, Dr. Henderson, man, right. I'm ready to tap in.
Mention those 5 steps again right quick for those that are tuning in.
Okay, the steps are very simple, sir, and listeners out there throughout the world. In order to do anything, to change anything in 30, 60, 90 days, you must have what I call a corrective action plan, a prioritized corrective action plan with 5 components. 1 is an agenda. You will need a timeline, a checklist, a project manager, and an evaluation team, and you never should work on no more than 2, 3, or 4 items at a time.
Agenda, timeline, and a what? Checklist.
Project manager, and an evaluation team.
Project manager and evaluation team.
That's right. And you got to always look at, Mr. Lee, 5 areas of activity that's going to keep you focused, starting on the local level. Every black person in America going to have to take over his own education and training, his own religion. He must be an initiator for his economic development. And he must be able to deal in principles of leadership that is constructive and inclusive. And the last thing black folks will have to do in America and the world is get involved in politics on the local level and find out who is responsible for them, determine the job description, set up a shadow government, and if they don't do it, appoint people off the record to be the mayor, to be the supervisor, do those things themselves, and vote them out of office after they do 5 things. That is, recruit individuals, teach individuals their new responsibilities, select individuals, and then appoint them to positions of responsibility in the church, in the schools, in economic development, in leadership, and of course in politics. For instance, if you have some politicians that are totally worthless, there's no need to criticize them. You know they haven't done anything. You find a sharp high school student or a sharp college student, get him or her trained to be the county supervisor, be on the council,
Yes.
be what we call the mayor, the junior mayor. Set up these structures in your church, in your community organizations,
Yes.
and then recruit by getting new voters.
Yes.
Because the old voters have been brainwashed.
And voted the
Many
same
have
way.
given up, and the few that vote can vote for the same person, whether they do anything or not.
Correct. Isn't that amazing? Now, we go back to a broken system, we go back to a broken people, and understand that those people have to be healed before we put this new information in. If not, it just falls through the cracks, right?
That's right.
Just falls through the cracks. So what do you think the steps to healing are? You and Brother Mike, I want to hear from both of you guys. How can we heal our community one person at a time?
Well, I want to yield to
Brother Mike.
Mr. Mike first.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
So I'm in the Washington, D.C. area. So we have some of the same things that goes on across the country, in our inner cities. You know, our muted communities, the places where people forget about us and the things that we need to do. I think what we need to be focused on is, again, meeting each other, figuring out who our leaders are. Because the way this whole process works, it works like a pimple, right? It's happening under the surface before you even see it. By the time they realize what's happening, it's too late. It's already here. It's already here. So we need to be able to meet the people, the leaders of our community. We need to network properly. You know, we really need to focus on, like you said, Dr. Henderson, the politicians and the religious leaders, and really figure out, okay, what are they actually doing in our community? Because healing is going to be it's something that we got to do. Nobody's coming to save us, by the way. If y'all haven't noticed that by now.
Exactly.
No one's coming to save us. So it's something that needs to be done internally, and we need to know who you guys are, who the local leaders are, who the people who can lead direct. The biggest problem that we deal with in the black community is the lack of organization. You know, if we put our money together, if we put our resources together and our thoughts together, we can make an incredible impact. Think about whenever there's something that happens politically. If it happens to the black community, we typically riot. We cause a fuss. If it happens to the white community, they put their resources together. They boycott. They take things away from people, right? They come together as an organization to take resources away. So I think that's where we should start.
Awesome. Dr. Henderson, you got about 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay, well, one thing, Mr. Lee, that we don't do is we're in the process of having a great need for education and training. And Mr. Foster mentioned how it is so destructive in the school system where the teacher will set up a system and say, well, these students are 70%, 75% passing. They don't know 25% of the information. Next time they take a test, they can't pass, but 60%. Later on, 50%. So if parents were involved and knew that they can make any student that's normal and average an honor student, if they do one thing, and the school teachers and the principals know it, but they won't do it, there's something called learning-based assessment. If you take a test, Mr. Lee, and your child does not make but 75% on that test, he has the possibility of making 100. He makes only 75%. His teacher will tell him, you're just a C student. Next time he makes a D. But all the parents have to do is get that 75% that he didn't pass and teach that to him at home, test him on that material, and he will go back to school and give that to the teacher, let him or her assess them on it again before the next test, and that's the way you get that old student that is headed to jail on the right track. Parents must have responsibility over education and training, and they're not going to get it in the school system. They're too busy. When you have 35 students and only 10% are performing in 80 to 100%, and the 80% or 90% are just passing, you got destruction coming, and you better start building new jails and getting more and more police officers, get more and more drugs in your community, getting more and more drive-bys, because those young people that are going to have no education, no training, no skills, no certifications, going to be shooting and killing folks, and it's going to be you. Because they are not going to be going to the gated communities. They're going to kill the folks that they interact with every day. They're going to abuse them, rape them, shoot them down like they're rabbits to take that little money they think they have, get that television set, take that car.
No.
And we let this happen, allow it to happen, by not getting them trained in school and working with them in the community organizations and the churches.
Training in the auspice of earning and learning, or learning to earn, learn by doing, is what Open House Vision has brought to Jackson, Mississippi. Offering these young people who 16, 17, 18 years old, stop trying to be in a structure that you don't fit in. Let's go ahead and get you a GED. Let's go ahead and teach you how to paint, do HVAC, heating and cooling, plumbing, construction, viable jobs that will always be needed as long as communities are being torn down and built up. These sources or resources will always be a form of making income, which a lot of them are making more money than the people that have degrees, such as myself. A lot of people that have degrees, only 80%, 80% of us that have degrees are not working in the arena that we have degrees in.
Exactly.
We got to pay attention to the signs. So this is a great segue for us going into the law of attraction in the next segment. The law of attraction, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what that is. It's the most popular of the 12 universal laws. It's used for manifestation. You basically attract what you focus on. You apply the law of attraction by believing what you are manifesting. Now, when we go back to those 3 E's, environment, experience, and exposure, and you talk about them shooting each other down like rabbits, it's because they're in an environment where that's all they see. It's because that's an experience, that's all they experience. It's because that's an exposure, that's all they exposed to. So I believe in that 3 E's. I believe in taking kids camping, fishing, and horseback riding, and hiking. I believe in changing their mindset by doing, by earning, by learning, or learning by doing, and doing by learning. These are the things that I feel like are great proponents for changing child by child, young adult by young adult, family by family. Even the parents need training.
That's right. You start with the parents first.
Yes,
really.
sir. You start with the parents, but you got to understand that if those parents are dealing with an unruly child, which I've seen it, when a child is rebellious, it does no good to try. We have to look at the holistic family, Dr. Henderson.
Every time.
We have to, and different people will reach different avenues or different structured proponents of that, but we have to do it one family stronger together. Until we stop the divisions, until we stop the isms and the schisms, we have literally diluted the power that God Almighty gives us as human beings in the earth by operating in unity, operating in solutions that you've given. You gave us some solutions. Those solutions are null and void if we do not utilize them and put them into action. You got about 20 seconds before we go to commercial.
Well,
please.
the thing we have to do, sir, you first have to create a new person. Mm-hmm. You have to renew him or her. Mm-hmm. And the way you do that is very simple. You first have to talk to those young people and the parents and others and ask them just to listen to me. Mm-hmm. See, I have a plan for you.
Our children are dying to be heard,
right.
And I got to do a segue. 1-833 GPS Love number is here because our children are dying to be heard.
That's right. And the next thing, once you start listening, ladies and gentlemen.
Today's show is sponsored by earthblendcoffee.global. You can use the link in the description box to place your order now. You're tapped and tuned into the Visionaires show. None other than Dr. Eldrige, Henderson, my mentor, my little brother Mike Lee out of Washington, D.C. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into M.grade rock materials. recycled aggregates, and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. By using SocratesGarrettENT.com's crushed concrete products, anyone from homeowners to general contractors can help reduce landfilled concrete waste, conserve natural resources, and gain significant economic savings on materials and disposal costs. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com. SGECOVIDSolutions.com is paving the way forward for a safer city government, delivering cutting-edge biosecurity and biosafety protocols developed internationally by top virologists and scientists using an all-natural cleaning solution, killing COVID-19 on contact like no other product on the international market. For more information, please call 1-800-281-9080 or visit us online at SGECOVIDSolutions.com. Let SGECOVIDSolutions.com provide innovative rapid facilities testing and world-class state-of-the-art biorisk safety protocols for all of your coronavirus needs. Call 1-800-281-9080 or visit us online at SGECOVIDSolutions.com.
Advertise on WeBelieve.global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
Pull up at the house, open house vision, centered here right in the heart of Jackson, Mississippi. Homeboy came back home, Reagan. He's really trying to see who wants change. I'm talking to myself, I'm referring to myself. I really want to see, I don't want to hear Dr. Henderson, I want to see who really wants change in the city of Jackson, Mississippi, simply by coming together, one accord, one heart, one mind, one spirit, and showing Jackson that there is a better way.
One way to do it, sir, is do what we were talking about earlier.
Yes, sir.
And that is get someone's attention so they can listen to you. See, there are 7 components in making and renewing a person, regardless of his background, his experience or whatever. The first thing he's going to have to do is listen. And the second component is one that listens then need to think. See, we don't think. And once you start thinking about what you've heard, Mr. Foster, you then will have the ability to learn because you've heard some good things. You want to change your life, and you don't want to do it forever. You want to do it in 30, 60, 90 days.
That's right.
So once you start learning things, you then will get to the point where you can get that livable wage job. You can get that certification or that diploma that you're talking about, ladies need in GED and so forth. Then once you start learning, you then will start earning. You got to make more than that minimum wage to make it because you don't have time to work 2 and 3 jobs. You will never be at home with your family.
I'm posting this as you say.
The next thing, once you start earning, the major problem most blacks have and other poor folks is when they earn something, they don't save. They give it away in consumer items.
So can we say budget?
Oh, they got to budget. If you don't budget, I guarantee you, you're going to be a negative force in the community. You will never have anything.
I'm going to add that to the save.
Okay. You will never have anything other than mental unwellness if you don't save. So the next thing is to invest. You must invest, and if you don't invest in several things like a will first, power of attorney, life estates, and insurance, you are setting yourself and your family up for failure. And the last thing you do once you start learning, earning, saving, and investing, then you are in a position where you can start serving yourself, your family, and your community. That's when you get involved with your community organizations and make things happen. You would have the time to focus on the politics in the community, the religious structure, leadership possibilities, economic development. Is always self first, family second, and community third. And if you do it like that,
say it again.
Self first,
self first,
family second,
family second,
And community third.
Community third.
And you got to have yourself in a position where you can have what we call some economic power. A poor man, now this is hard to hear, but a poor man that depending on less than a minimum wage or around a minimum wage can't be a good leader, can't be a good politician, and of course, he can't be a good preacher. Because if you're working below your standard, and you have to focus on taking resources from your members or from others in the community, take a little bribe here or there, let a special interest group tell you to do something, you do it for an underhand offering, you are going to infect your mind, infect the system, and the respondents won't get what they deserve.
Brother Mike Lee, tap in, sir.
Man, that was powerful. I'm over here scribbling all day long, man. I can't wait to go back and listen to this. But, I mean, everything that you're saying hits it right on the head. And it's in the perfect order because as you listen and as you actually interpret and think about those things that you're listening to, because obviously there's a bunch of different things that comes into our minds and comes into our eyes on a daily basis. But you really got to think through that, and you got to learn. You know, after you learn, that's when you earn. You know, it's just so powerful, saving and budgeting. And then what you talked about, Dr. Henderson, is the investment piece.
Got to invest,
that's where my passion is. That's where my passion is. You know, I work with not-for-profit life insurance companies, and 99% of the black community does not even know that that concept even exists. And one of the craziest things that happens with the not-for-profit life insurance companies is they will write your will for free, power of attorney for free.
That's right.
Right? But if 99% of the black community don't know about these resources, that means at the very least, 99% of the black community aren't taking advantage of these resources. You know? And I love what you said. You got to take care of yourself, then your family, then your community, because even if you get on an airplane and it's going down, the first thing you got to do is put on your mask first.
Exactly.
There's no help if you die. Right? So I appreciate it. I love it.
Man, this is Campbell Soup good. I keep trying to tell you, a courageous conversation does change the nation. I am excited, guys, because one of the things that that I've learned from being back here in Jackson, Mississippi, is that while so many things have changed, so many things have remained the same. And those things have remained the same because no one has focused on it. The thing I want to pull out, a caveat I want to pull out of what you just said about the 7 things for change was the learning to earn, learning then earning. Is it possible that we can safely say that the reason some of our young people can't find a job, socioeconomic status is below poverty, is because they have not learned what that gift and what that talent is on the inside of them because they have not been exposed to it?
That's exactly right. Because they are not exposed to very much in the public school system. The public school system is not set up now for the average student. 50 years ago, it was. You could go to a public school and learn a trade. You can learn to play in the band, play the saxophone, the guitar, the drums. And guess what you're going to do on the weekend? Go and play in your church or in a club somewhere. You learn how to build air conditioners or fix air conditioners, do a little plumbing, do a little carpentry. What are you going to do? You're going to help the local carpenter after school. All of that now is virtually taken out of the public schools. You have to have a high school diploma or a GED now, in most cases, to get into community college to get these trades. Then you have to take a test and score a certain number to get into the trade, even if you have a GED high school diploma. But now if you don't have that, and most of blacks don't, black young people, 55% have not finished high school, male and females, in the inner city schools. So that means that group is going to do those things that we see every day, taking the few resources out of the community. But if we would start training in the churches and community organizations and do what the public schools are not doing, and they're doing it on purpose because the people in the public schools, all those good principals you mentioned, all those good teachers, are locked down with a curriculum that's designed by the people that want to promote miseducation. You are not going to have the people that historically put you behind the 8 ball do anything for you. Why would you do that? Your job is to serve me. That's what the providers say, the so-called founding fathers. They say your job is to look out for my welfare. And all my job is to teach you that I am the superior one, that you are to love me, and if you don't like it, John Doe, don't worry about it. I have trained your preacher to teach you that you are supposed to love me if I abuse you, because when you die, you're going to go to heaven and you're going to be fine.
Well,
that's not going to happen.
Here at the Visionaires, so we are cultivating purpose, unity, and solutions, right? And so I have a solution for the public school system.
What is that?
The solution is that you create an alternative school. A school that will be accredited, a school that will do exactly these things that we're saying, that any child that does not fit inside of that cookie cutter system, that structure that is stifling, literally suffocating our children to death, that you literally can send those children directly, watch this, to an alternative school instead of a Department of Juvenile Justice.
That's
or
right.
Instead of prison. Because in that juvenile justice system, immediately upon a child turning 18 years old at 12 o'clock at night, they directly take that child to the adult prison. They take them to the adult prison at the stroke of 12 midnight. And so why not put a bridge there? A bridge of alternative education to where they can learn about those trades again, those trades that are not going anywhere as long as we're building, as long as we're destroying, we're always destroying to build. And as long as we're building, it will eventually be destroyed. Why not put them in a painting class, a HVAC class, an automotive class? Put them in something that they can use viable resources and use their hands and mentality to earn and learn, to learn and earn, to earn by doing, learn by doing. That is a solution, because we talk about solutions on this show. And so that is a solution that I feel like that the nation can implement as a pilot.
What do you think about that, Mr. Lee?
I love it. I love it. You know what? If we just look back at history, right? Let's look at the thriving societies of the past. Let's just start with the Mayan Society. What the Mayans did is, as their children were growing up, and I'm talking about toddlers, 3, 4 years old, once that toddler identified something that they gravitated towards them, they would take him out of the community and say, hey, this is what I want you to do. This is your contribution to society. Don't worry about the house. Don't worry about the clothes. Don't worry about the food. That's going to come. This is your contribution of society. So now you create a society full of experts as opposed to a society full of pawns, people to serve as opposed to people to serve one person or to serve a different community. Why can't we go back to something like that?
Well,
internally, again, underneath the surface.
We can do this. What a lot of people don't understand, since a lot of people are always saying that the public school system is null and void, we must understand, ladies and gentlemen, that you can start a school, alternative school, in 30, 60, 90 days. You can get it incorporated in about 10 minutes, get a board of directors, raise some funds, use what you have where you are, use the church, a community organization, to set up that class where they're going to learn how to play musical instruments, where they're going to learn how to do plumbing, electrical work, how to fix cars. You don't need a big place to do that. Get a nice building, 2 or 3 rooms, put an old car up in there, teach people how to fix it. Do the thing with air conditioning. When they finish, give them a certificate showing that they can master 7, 9, 10, or 15 skills. You already have the school So you get it accredited, and that's easily done.
Yes.
And it all can be done in 30, 60, 90 days, starting on the local level where you are with what you have.
Yes. Now, guys, I got to do some housekeeping right quick. On March 2nd, virtually on the Manifest Life page on Facebook, there will be a virtual conference with yours truly, Bennie Hitmaker Foster, Lisa Foster, and Terrence Thomas. We're doing the virtual sunrise. It is Manifest Spring 2022. Tap and tune in. You can inbox me on Facebook at Bennie Hitmaker Foster to get those credentials to be in that class. Again, it's called the Virtual Sunrise. This Saturday, March 5th at the Elks Lodge 518 on John R. Lynch Street. It is the relaunch of the Elks Lodge. We will be there with the High School Alumni Night Spring Fling. It's on your screen right now. Make sure you come out, and it's a fundraiser, FUNRAISER. It's a fundraiser for Open House Vision, which we are putting into play, into action, all of these things that we are discussing right now, allowing young people to have an alternative besides prison. It is an awesome feeling to have a solution. Today's show is sponsored by EarthBlendCoffee.Global. You can use the link in the description box to place your order now, and we'll be right back in just a couple of seconds with my esteemed co-host and special guest.
Advertise on WeBelieve.Global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.Global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
You know what it is. You're tapped and tuned into the Visionaires show. Yours truly, Bennie Hitmaker Foster, right here in Jackson, Mississippi, which I feel like it's a beautiful day in Jackson, Mississippi. Every day that we 6 feet on top. Dr. Eldrige Henderson is in the studio with me, and we have Brother Mike Lee in the Washington, D.C. area, who is on this podcast as well. Guys, one additional thing I want to share with you is that we had a beautiful community service weekend. We actually helped the Perkins Foundation over there off of Robinson Road repair some things over there. Shout out to Miss Deborah, shout out to Philip, shout out to Derek, shout out to Elizabeth, shout out to John and Vera Mae Perkins over there. 70 years of ministry. 70 years of ministry. Why would you not come and sit at the feet and learn? 70 years of ministry, building up communities, housing, youth programs, all around the country. And so I salute you guys. I hope I didn't miss anybody's name. Shout out to Brother John Smith, one of our ambassadors with Open House Vision. Shout out to my brother Jeff Sutton. Shout out to all those additional people that came out. My little brother Isaiah, young man Rufus, all of them that came out and supported that community service project. And then Sunday we were at the Elks Lodge, and I tapped into my leadership around me, and that we could set up the Elks Lodge to welcome all of those people that will come out for the high school alumni night spring fling. We will be doing more fundraisers in the community, Dr. Henderson, because I feel like even as we're growing, we should give back toward the growth and the development, and that we should sometimes celebrate life just to celebrate life. Sometimes we're so caught up with the woe is me, and that mentality, I think, is really depreciating our city and depreciating us as human beings. Now, before we wrap up this segment, I definitely would like to hear from Brother Mike Lee. Mike Lee, if you had, this is a question I asked my ambassadors, my volunteers, my supporters, and my sponsors who support Open House Vision on yesterday at our meeting. Shout out to everybody. If I missed your name, I apologize. Brother Griffin with Griffin Construction, big brother Jimmy over there at the Elks Lodge. Anybody that I'm missing, my brother Amos. I appreciate all you guys. Monique, Sheila Gilliam, Monique Drake. I appreciate all you guys. If I'm missing anybody, please charge it to my head and not to my heart. But I want to say, I asked them this question. I want to hear from you, Brother Mike Lee, and even you that are watching live. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. If you had 1 year to live, 1 year, if you had 1 year to live, could you do what Dr. Henderson just told us? Could you come up with an agenda? Could you have a project manager, which would probably be yourself, to make sure that you live your best life ever? What would you do, Brother Mike and Dr. Henderson, if you had 1 year to live? Brother Mike.
So, I love that question. I'm going to start asking that to the people that I work with. Because what that question does is it opens up, it creates a sense of urgency. It makes me at least want to achieve those things that God called me to achieve sooner. And to answer your question, absolutely. If I had 1 year to live, the first thing I would do is I'll touch on what Dr. Henderson was talking about. I'll create an agenda. I'm a huge proponent of scheduling. A mentor of mine a long time ago said people that have good lives, people that have decent lives, people that have bad lives, they live day to day and moment to moment. The people that have exceptional lives, the people that are wealthy, the people that are like Dr. Henderson talked about, not having to worry about finances so they can be who God called them to be, they live minute to minute. And what I mean by that is we all have things to do, right? We all have a to-do list, whether it's written down or mentally. That to-do list creates anxiety. Putting those things on your to-do list into a schedule releases anxiety. And what it does is compartmentalizes your time. So for this hour and 15 minutes, I'm here, I'm present. Talking about the law of attraction, I'm present right now, right?
Yes.
I can go to the next thing, but because I put those things into a schedule, now I have the ability to get everything done. When it's family time, it's family time.
Yes.
It is what it is. So I would do that times 10, and I'll figure out exactly what I want, The question is, what do you want? How do you get it? What do you want? How do you get it? Right? So that would be what I'll do.
Man, I salute you, man. That's excellent. And guess what? It's no cookie cutter approach. It's for every individual. Some people may say take trips. Some people may say ball till they fall. Some people may say shop till they drop. But I really love the people that talk about their vision, because the vision is for people. When they talk about what it is that they're going to do, that it's going to affect our community. Dr. Henderson.
Well, I would do something a little different. I will evaluate my resources, and I will sell all of my assets, make sure that my family has a will, power of attorney, good insurance, and a life estate. Then I will look at my program ability and set up a 12-month program to spend all the resources I have left and put programs in those 5 areas of activity: economic development, politics, religion, principles of leadership, and recruit 10 young people from ages 2, TWO, you got to start early, to about 18, and put them in that program and teach them so they can learn how to be able to help self first, family second, and community third.
I love it.
In education, in politics, and so forth. That's where you create leaders. I've spent every penny I have left after I take care of my family, but it'd have to be for at least 2 generations.
I love it.
You want to take care of your family for at least 2 generations.
I love it. So, and of course, I can't ask these 2 gentlemen without saying myself, right now I'm in the middle of a 30, 60, 90-day paradigm shift with Open House Vision. And in 60 days, guys, we've had land donated, we've had facilities given, we had financial donations, we have people coming alongside carrying the weight. I have to distribute the weight and disseminate the weight, because this vision is bigger than Bennie Hitmaker Foster. This vision is for the people. And ironically, guys, when we talk about visionaries, I used to always think that vision and mission was redundant. Dr. Henderson, Brother Mike, I thought they were two unnecessary evils of sort. Because it's like, why would I have a vision and a mission, then I put my goals? So I understand now that the vision is for people that they will not perish. right?
That's
There
right.
are two times in the Bible that perish stands out to me. That for lack of knowledge, our people perish, and for the lack of a vision, people perish. Both of them talk about two things missing: vision and a knowledge. A knowledge or knowledge and a vision, right?
Right.
So you can have a vision, but if you don't put knowledge, what you're giving us, that list, the things that I know to put in my 30, 60, 90-day plan, if we don't apply that knowledge to the vision is minute.
And the bad part about it, if you don't have that knowledge and vision, you won't have your goals and objectives.
There you go.
Then you don't have anything to systematize.
You don't have the structure.
You don't have that agenda item. You don't have a checklist and a timeline.
You don't.
You don't have a project manager.
You don't.
You practice then using procrastination all the
Yes.
time. I'm going to do it tomorrow.
Talking about it.
I'm going to do it tomorrow.
Talking about it.
But I'm going to go down to the boat tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go and buy some drugs tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I got to go to that lottery on Friday.
So I found myself, I lost myself to find myself as the Bible declares, in the midst of open house vision. Everything that I learned from a child up until now, I'm implementing and I'm putting into open house vision because it's pulling on every fiber of me, everything I learned, everything I know to be successful, everything I know to be ineffective. We chunk that to the side, and then everything that I know works, we're working with that, and we're changing lives. And we've been here for 67 days, today. And in that time period, so much has happened. I am very humbled, but I'm also very confident that within that 90-day frame of me setting foot in Jackson, Mississippi on December 20th of 2021, that by the time we reach that 90-day mark, that this city will be impacted by the structure, by the vision, by the mission of Open House Vision. Because when you got that vision, real quick, when you got that vision is for the people. But in that mission, you have to work with other people.
Every time.
You have to work with other people.
You must do that.
Gotta do it or it's not gonna come to
pass. Now let me tell you what you have done.
Yes, sir.
In 67 days, you have done more than some of the organizations I know about that's been in operation for 60 years.
I salute you.
All they do is talk, have a little tea here and there, give out a little certificate, and do that again every 6 months or every 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then criticize the politicians and the preachers for not doing their jobs, which they don't demand that they do.
So it's a finger pointing match going on.
Every time. And that's what people like.
That's a distraction.
Of course. See, the politicians and the preachers want you to criticize them as long as you don't punish them.
Mm.
They smile about that.
Mm.
That's why the people that are doing everything they can to keep you economically deficient smile and laugh when you start protesting and demonstrating in marches. They say, there they go again. If that's all they're going to do, as long as they don't boycott me, I'm going to sit here and look at them.
Wow. Brother Mike, 30-second elevator speech. After that, Dr. Henderson, 30-second elevator speech, and I'm going to wrap up this show. We got about 2 minutes and 25 seconds left before we go to commercial and get out of here, man. Dr. Eldrige Henderson, give me your 30 seconds of what you want the people to know before we get off this show today.
Well, I need people to understand, Mr. Paul said, that one can change his or her life in 30, 60, 90 days if they have a corrective action plan, but it must be prioritized with goals and objectives.
Yes.
And they must have a monitor or program manager to make it happen.
And an evaluation team.
Got to have
I learned fast.
They got to have the evaluation team.
Brother Mike.
Yes, sir. So first of all, I want to start my 30-second speech with I love you guys.
Love you,
Everybody
man.
on this call, I bring positive energy to you. Everybody that's listening, I bring positive energy to you. I am a resource. God is the source. Education, resources, and funding. Okay? There are financial institutions out here that will actually give you not only life insurance, but scholarships, grant money. They'll write your will for free. Give me a call if you need me. Bennie has my information. Connect with Bennie. Connect with your leaders locally. I love you guys.
We love you back.
Thank you.
All right, guys, you've been tapped and tuned into the Visionaires show every Monday here at 11 a.m. CST. We are offering the purpose, the solutions, and the unity that is needed to take us to the next level in life. All right. I want to say again, this Saturday night, 8 p.m. at the Elks Lodge, 3100 J.R. Lynn Street. We need for you to come out and meet others in your community that are like-minded, that love each other, that have a purpose, that have a plan to change the culture, the climate, in the heart of this city. Will you be one of those people that sign your name on the line? They say, sign my name on the Christian Jubilee. Will you be a person that will sign up for Open House Vision and other organizations such as Open House Vision to discover your purpose and help young people discover their purpose? Man, you've been tapped and tuned into the Visionaires Show. Yours, Bennie Hitmaker Foster. And right about now, I need for you to know that today's show is sponsored by EarthBlendCoffee.Global. You can use the link in the description box to place your order now. We will see you guys next Monday. Please do me a favor. Share this show. Like this show. Love this show. Continue to share. And I'll see you back here next Monday. Salute.
All right.
Visionaires. Yeah, we on a visionary vibe. Cultivating purpose, solutions, and unity while advancing and increasing your personal growth, development, energy, frequency. Yeah, it's a visionary vibe. You ever considered rites of passage, separation, transition, elevation, and purpose? Do you have a code of ethics, protocol, truth, love, respect? I salute you. Pull up at the house and get what you need. Open House Vision. Are you a visionary?
Do you have something to say? Do you want your voice heard? Join the WeBelieve.Global lineup. Be the star of your own show. For more info, call 800-492-5186, option number 1, or visit online at WeBelieve.Global.